Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, and welcome to the new year 2013, Anno Domini. We shall be watching WMDchains fighting for the Kampfgruppe Ketten of the 2nd SS Panzer Division, going up against Arcsaber, fighting for the Americans, fighting for the 4th Infantry Division. And we are already seeing the first Ketten card rolling ahead, securing a pretty advanced fuel point. Second Ketten card out, so obviously here we are seeing a 2 Ketten card start up from Chains, hoping to secure as much territory as possible. Also note that initially he's actually ignoring the fuel point right next to his base, but he's actually ensuring this will also be secured. So clearly he's got some sort of advanced harassment strategy in plan. In fact, he's going straight up here. Going straight for this. He might do a dastardly trick which is known as Ketten card pushing. Not well liked, and there we go. In fact, he managed to render it neutral, or run all the engineers' hard progress. Definitely something that can get players a bit, how should one put it, pissed off. Rifleman joining up, and interesting enough, they're not going to move in there to sort of try and keep the fuel point secure. In fact, looks like Arcsaber's not quite aware what's going on. Oh dear. Of course, one thing that Arcsaber could try to do is actually paying attention, just quickly wire this off and then sort of begin capturing again. But either way, he needs to get to work, Arcsaber. Oh dear, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. There seems to be a lot of things going on. He might be paying a bit too much attention down here and forgetting about the rest. Oh dear, this is actually going to hurt Arcsaber a bit. This is a bit of a unfortunate beginning. And now we do see Panzers moving in to reinforce the Kettenkrat's efforts in the north with the Gewehr 43 in hand. And there we go, the Kettenkrat rushes in again. And does it again. And there's still no real response from Arcsaber to try and protect this. And again, even just a bit of wiring, I think, could have made it a bit difficult for the Kettenkrat in doing anything. Now the Panzer Grenadiers have arrived, making this a much more painful endeavour. Work down there, hoping to at least secure something down there, but this is definitely going to hurt Arcsaber in the initial minutes of the game. He's got not the otherwise pretty much secure fuel point. I mean, this is some pretty ballsy play by Chains, but so far it's working off quite nicely. And again, I'm wondering if there might have not been something distracting Arcsaber beyond the game initially, and the engineers again just getting murdered. The Kettenkrat is almost down though, but survives. Of all the things that could happen, it actually survives. The Panzer goes quick on it to repair. Very ballsy stuff. We see a bit of harassment up here, bit of work. Fighting off against Panzer Grenadiers. Let's see how this works out. The Riflemen are doing a bit poorly initially. There we go, dropping one Panzer Grenadier. They do lose one man, but as soon as one Panzer Grenadier drops, the combat effectiveness of a Panzer Grenadier squad drops sharply. Pushing up here again, but the fuel point will be secure, thus meaning that the fuel point, and while of course Chains is not hoping to get any fuel off it, he is hoping of course to delay any sort of fuel into the storage of Arcsaber. So,
forward supply lines are broken.
Rather bold there. And do see her pulling back. We see some riflemen hanging out here going for the cutoff point. Not quite as effective, since there's not a lot here that Chains actually has. It would be more wiser if he actually pushed up here. Now question, of course, what will Arcsaber do? I fear he might in fact be misreading the situation, thinking he's got something good here. He's laying in some riflemen to hide in there, but there are troops coming in from the other side. His riflemen here, oh dear, they need to retreat now. Already below half health, and their Panzer gunners behind them, Gewehr 43s amongst other things. Come on, Arcsaber, leave the premises. Scouts are here, and they do not want to welcome you with coffee and cake. Oh dear, so little health, down to 2 men. Arcsaber, what are you doing? And now he's retreating, but of course he's going to be right past the Panzer as they have any little health, and they are, oh dear, an absolute waste, and for what? Pretty much nothing. He killed one Panzer in there, and the cutoff point, or choke point he secured was pretty much worthless. So that's pretty much 270 manpower down the drain, which is probably the worst part of this entire engagement. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what possessed Arcsaber to think that was going to be any sort of useful. But there you go. could hurt him, since he's now going to be rather short on riflemen. Plus, of course, there's still the business up here. Arcsaber is definitely not having a holly jolly American start. We're seeing more rifling up. We're seeing the cutoffs here being secured by panzer guys, and this is actually going to hurt Arcsaber. On the other hand, since he's actually expecting resources from that bit there. And we do see a Kenkrat lost 2 chains, that is going to hurt him a bit. And the Kampfgruppe of the 2nd SS Panzer Division. Panzergun is getting engaged and getting pushed off. His Kenkrat could also get lost if Arcsaber decides to push it. Damaged engine, come on Arcsaber, you can do it. This could actually paralyze chains a bit, or at least make things a lot more tricky for him. And there we go. 2nd Kenkrat down, but we also see, oh, he's already rushed for the Panzerjäger command. And of course he knows he can safely go, since he knows Arcsaber's not got a lot of fuel, so he can't be taking up to anything sort of easily. Still, he lost 2 Kenkrats. That is definitely going to make it much more difficult for chains to actually secure any territory initially. So a bit of a mistake right there by Les Chains. On the other hand, he's going to get an armor count, and these panzer guys are doing terribly against riflemen in heavy cover. They've only got boxes and a bit of a wooden fence to provide cover, meaning they're only going to be a bit harder to hit, whereas these chaps are also going to be harder to damage. Fresh panzer guys moving up, but again, heavy versus light cover. The riflemen will have the advantage right here. Although we do need now... we do now see an armored car moving out. Patrolling the streets. And opening up onto Yankees. If only the Americans right here had the BARs, this could actually prove a bit more problematic for the armored car. Instead, it will flank them, doing so quite nicely and doing a bit of damage, forcing the riflemen to vacate the premises. Though without any losses initially. Moving further into town. Sadly, no mines have been laid down, which could have otherwise perhaps have done something against the armored car. And of course, it's playing rather carefully. It does not want to get trapped. It knows that villages and other urban territory are bad places to be if you're a vehicle, because you might get stuck in something. Rather than, oh dear, someone went down. He's going to be joining the rest of the occupants of the cemetery. Armored car close to half health again. BARs would immensely have helped them, because then they'd actually been able to really out-damage the armoured car, while of course still enjoying heavy cover. And armoured cars are not really good against units in heavy cover. They're more for flanking units in heavy cover, or dealing with troops out in the open. They're not so much of a sort of thing to dig out troops with. They are not tanks. Mine down there, lovely. Rifleman moving up. Mine there could also work if you can get away with it. Mine there, or mine there. We do see another Kenkrat out for change. In fact, he's doing quick work to replace both Kenkrats. Though, of course, that is going to be about a 330 manpower. Panzer's charging in. We are, in fact, seeing quite a solid push into the town centre. This could prove ugly for Arcsaber. He needs to consider retreating his men to a slightly more comfy position, somewhere where he does not risk losing more men on the retreat. Come on, don't make the same mistake again, Arcsaber. And apparently someone is so absolutely excited he dies and flies. Oh, another squad went down. Arcsaber, we need to work on your retreatment protocols. You're losing way too many men senselessly, not retreating in time, you know. Know when to fight, know when to get the bloody devil out of there. But we are seeing work up here, that's nice. In fact, we are seeing all 3 victory points being held. Motor pool going up, but not an awful lot of infantry left for Arcsaber in the fight against chains. This is again something that Arcsaber needs to be careful with. I think he's losing units needlessly. We do see the motor pool up now, so of course he might try something, but of course at the same time Panzer Support Command is going up. I do believe he might be hearing some sort of doctrinal choice. He's gone Tank Destroyer. So there can be tiller mines, there can be tank awareness, other fun bits. And as soon as that Panzer Support Command, of course, we're seeing anti-tank half-tank, which will minimize any sort of vehicles that could be coming out of here. Most likely we'll be seeing an initial armored car. Engineers here running into a world of hurt. trying to escape said World of Hurt, but the World of Hurt continues to hunt them down. Mine down there. Armor car does not give full pursuit, instead opting to pull back. We do see an American armor car, the M8 Greyhound. Few Panzer guys hiding up in the town center. And a bit of movement up towards here to secure the territory right there. Victory points being re-secured to stop the drainage. Fighting in the center here, Rifleman pushing up through the cafe. Tellermine going down. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. He's actually going in for the... If he was to spot the Panzers right here, he could get off one hit and perhaps kill both of them. Instead, no. They do succeed in laying down the Tellermine, quite the heavy anti-tank mine. And if the Greyhound hits that, that is pretty much going to be good night. And so far the armor car's done no damage. Kettenkrad in a bit of trouble. Could go down, but at the same time, the anti-tank half-track is getting closer. Oh, destroyed engine. Oh no, it's driving Tellermine. Armored car is down, but at the same time, he's already getting a second one out. Apparently some sort of cavalry recon unit is being dispatched to support the 4th Infantry against the 2nd SS, and some engineers moving down about there. Not entirely sure what they were doing. Perhaps sightseeing. Bit the wrong time for that though. Armored car pushing in. Greyhound moving in. Although of course the anti-tank half-tech could actually be rendered a bit less useful, since now it can't knock out the armor car immobilized. Greyhound close to getting the German armored car, but fails to secure the Leichtgeschütz Panzerspielwagen. Gets the Kettenkrad instead, but that's not quite the same, and we are seeing a forward barracks going up right there in the church. And we are seeing some Panzer... Oh, Panzer Grenadier down. Sadly, there's no further push into town. We are seeing a 3rd armored car. That's pretty rare. You actually see an American commander really bother with armored car in his own of numbers. Usually it's 1 or 2, and then besides that, sod it. But in this case, Arcsaber seems to be going a bit sabery. Cavalry ahoy. Several armored cars. We're seeing the anti-tank half-track ready again. Kettenkrad here getting attacked by an armor car. Could go down. He's actually got a lot of munitions for upgrades. This one immobilized, needs repairs. Greyhound gets the Kettenkrad out of control. Needs... Oh, if he could ambush the other armor car with... Over the anti-tank half-track with the armor car from up north, he could do quite nicely. Engineers need to pull up and repair. There we go. Armor car moving in from the rear, ambushing the anti-tank half-track. Armor car firing it doesn't do much. Panzer's moving up. Why are these engineers not repairing? Veterans, you want for the riflemen? Come on. Come on, Arcsaber, repair, repair. Oh, bloody hell. And there you go, the armor car was lost. I think a bit needlessly, since again he could probably have repaired it. But another armored car moves in. 4 armored cars, all in this match. This is well close to a record, I think. Still, the 4 bags is helping with the Panzers, and now play for the pack of Greyhounds prowling into town. Though, of course, again, remember they are not tanks.
The enemy has moved against one of Germany's victory points.
Oh, whoops, actually, I should have been looking at Arcsaber for a bit. My apologies, my sincerest apologies. And he is getting another one. Impressive. Or disturbing, whatever you'd like to think. Though again, I think he could have saved that one. Much easier. Another anti-tank half-track rolls in. Mind you, they were actually platoon leader vehicles in a Panzer Grenadier platoon of the armoured kind, that is, these half-tracks. Not specific part of a tank hunter unit. They usually left that to stuff like Marders, anti-tank guns, in some cases Stugs if they couldn't get anything else, otherwise Hitzers or Jagdpanzers. Minesweepers in, of course he's worried about Tellermines. Ooh, medic station, that's going to be a nice choice. 3 Greyhounds. Bit under fire here. 1 anti-tank half-track. He try and hit from several sides, and looks like he might. So we're seeing another anti-tank half-tank moving in. We're seeing this armored car in trouble. The other one pulling away. Damaged engine. One armored car is going to go down and it's lost. And there we go. The second armored car being set upon. Engineers with minesweepers down. That was a waste of munitions then. Other armored car moving in. The pack springs its trap on the German kind. Anti-tank half-tank moving in. Should be careful. Panzergrenadiers getting blasted by riflemen. Some of them already veterans. One, in fact, quite a few of them are. Panzergrenadiers squatted down. Second SS are taking a bit of a beating. Where are the engineers? Again, get them moving. Get them moving. Armor cars moving in. This anti-tank half-tank has expended its immobilization shot there, taking a bit of damage. Panzergrenadiers moving up, but taking further losses. No incendiary grenades by the looks of it for chains. Anti-tank half-tanks are firing wildly and missing. Engineers moving up. Panzergrenadiers are taking considerable losses. Other armored car heavily damaged. Immobilized, and of course without armored skirts. Sadly, Arcsaber forgot about that. And down, get this one repaired, and get the other one repaired, then try and push in against the anti-tank half-tanks. Don't move it out into the open. Oh, Arcsaber, what are you doing, you clut? Quite a nasty engagement, and armor car pulls away. This one barely surviving. Still considerable losses for change. In fact, looks like he might have lost everything but 2 squads of Panzergrenadiers, and it looks like it's pretty much just down to Helmut and Fritz. Armor car push in, get another Panzergrenadier. And what is this? A Hetzer pulled in. They're not really actually fighting Normandy, mind you. I mean, they did fight in the same time period, but the thing was they were only on the Eastern Front. They only came much later onto the Western Front. But let's imagine it's a Stug, as some of them did have that sort of remote-controlled machine gun on top. And they were originally also meant as assault guns, though again some seem to think confused that with just being a tank destroyer. That's not quite true. Not quite what German doctrine operated on. The tank destroyer was a much too narrow vehicle for them to actually bother with. Again, the assault gun sort of involved more roles, which was rather how the German army operated. Mine goes off, damages the engine. Ready to roll. BAR's up, but do they actually have sticky bombs? I think that would have been more useful against the Hetzer. Anyways, of course, he wasn't aware. Anti-tank half-track firing, rifleman moving in, medic station going to help with the wounded. Anti-tank half-track pulling away. Panzergrenadiers fighting nearby. Are there any sticky bombs? Armored cars moving in. I think they should focus on the rest of the German vehicles. Immobilized. Nasty that. Panzergrenadiers dying. Getting murdered, getting suppressed. Anti-tank, half-track lost. Second one could also risk getting sorted out. Armored car could in fact also go down to the armored cars. There we go. Panzerspielwagen lost. Now the armor cars are up versus the Hetzer, and the Hetzer wins, although it is quite a bit on fire. Panzer is getting hunted down, could very close also be lost. Second armor car down. Anti-tank half-track going to be lost any minute now. And there we go. Quite considerable and excruciating losses on both sides. Lots of mechanized or motorized losses. Several half-tracks, several armored cars gone, and Panzergrenadiers died as well, and moving in towards the north again to harass there. Panzergrenadiers high inside the church. These troops just need to get out of there. Arcsaber, you're getting too greedy again. Oh no, Arcsaber, don't! Down to 2 men, get them out of there, get them out of there. Hetzers are considerably much more accurate. Oh, he lost the engineers. He got some riflemen reformed, so he can quickly push out again, but... And now he's got sticky bombs. He's getting an anti-tank gun now, and some more engineers, but definitely some heavy losses. On the other hand, he's also cost some heavy losses. I mean... Chains has very little left. He's got 2 squads of Panzergrenadiers, and 1 Hetzer, and now a Bergetiger to sort of try and sort out the worst. And surprisingly enough, Arcsaber has yet to choose a doctrine. Could have perhaps have helped him a bit early on, I think. But securing pretty much all of the victory points, that's definitely not going to help Semois Chains. The second SS. Bergetiga moving out. And grenades are now ready as well. I think he might be going a bit too fast and getting them fully upgraded. I think he might want to at least get one supply upgrade first. And also some sort of doctrinal choice and perhaps spend some resources there. I mean, he could go... Armor would in fact also been a good choice with all those armor cars out. But infantry could be a nice idea. Get some rangers out, blast some bazooka rockets into the sides of some poor bastard. Sturmgewehrs being equipped with some of the Panzer Grenadiers. Going for the forward barracks, hoping to render that neutral. Units are nearby. Bergetiga moving forwards or forwards. And looks like he might try to rush into the house, but I fear he might be a bit too late. And there we go. Forward barracks taken down. Bergetiga though moves forwards to repair the armor car and send it back into combat. Oh, Panzer's moving in, but they're just getting burned and shot alive. Oh, the armor car gets a nice flanking hit. Eviscerates the rifleman. Hetzer moves in, charges through, breaking a bit of cover. Panzer's not doing too much inside the house except getting burned alive. And there we go. Sticky bomb on the Hetzer. Damaged engine does manage to pull back behind the church. Good job there. Chains, grenades, Panzer's retreats. And the armor car in the back, so you also consider moving away to a slightly safer position. Resources now being floated by Arcsaber, but Sally does not seem to be invested into anything. And I do think that is a bit of a mistake. Armor car getting a nice few shots on the rifle out here. Going in for the Kencraft. Oh, damaged engine. The armor car, the rifleman could actually finish that one off. Oh, the anti-tank gun does it. And there we go. Armor cars quickly to repair. Was sorted out.
We're losing ground out there.
Still an upgrade there. At least he does have a medic station. That's definitely going to pay off for him, I imagine. Mortar half-track out. That should make the anti-tank gun quake in terror.
Forward supply line.
So that should help Chains out a bit. Although we do see Arcsaber already putting it back, feeling it is exposed, which it is, and thus moving it back to a slightly more safe position. Panzer is following the lakeside out, and we are seeing Airborne doctrine being chosen all out of the blue, and Airborne troops popping in.
200 points.
In the base, and a supply drop. That's quite interesting to do that all of a sudden. You could get a mortar, you could get some heavy machine guns, sort of make it difficult for Chains to advance in. An engineer unit went down to the Panzer Grenadiers and the Sturmgewehrs. Kencraft here though could get lost, but looks like it won't. There we go, getting engaged by the Panzers with their offensive veterancy.
Losing a strategic sector.
Who shall win this? Panzer Grenadiers, a rifle grenade getting dropped, but too far. Slight mistake there by Arcsaber, mildly put. And we're seeing riflemen charge in. We're seeing them quickly suppressed though by the Gewehr 43 Panzer. Suppressive volley unleashed, and these riflemen could go down. But looks like they do manage to escape successfully. And there we go, recaller's rifle for the Airborne, anti-tank gun, even some riflemen to support. Going in possibly for the mortar half-track though. Oh, should be careful. First shot flies too far. Heads under fire. Mortar half-track very close. Panzer goes with assault rifle charging in. In fact, assault grenadiers to support the efforts of the second SS. Mortar half-track almost down. Almost. Hetzer moves in. Incendio round on the anti-tank gun, burning the crew alive. Rifleman veterancy 2 though. Ooh, going to make short work. And a grenade on the Panzers. Down to 2 men. Hetzer doing what he can, standing in the Inferno. Looking like quite the hell beast. And the mortar half-track is lost. Panzers charging in. Oh dear, they could be taking heavy losses down to 1 man. And they run into the wooden shed. Yeah, that's no good. And thus, our veterancy 1 Panzer score was lost with assault rifles and veterancy. That's no good. Sticky bomb on the Bergetiga. Damaged engine. Hetzer moves in, continues its reign of terror. Quite effective against infantry. should not be underestimated whatsoever. Sticky bomb on the Hetzer. Panzer's going down. Damaged engine, in fact. Lovely, although some of them are quite quickly going down. And a second Hetzer moves in. Firing away. Causing quite some losses amongst the airborne, who should just retreat. No, they're running into the building. Arcsaber, you are getting too greedy again. I know what you're trying to do, but you might lose again things you cannot afford to lose. Just retreat the airborne. Rifleman moving in, though. Sticky bomb. Airborne reinforcing. Down to so little. And there we go again. He got too greedy. I know he was close to getting the back Tiger, but he could also easily, must have been able to see they could also lose the airborne. In this case, he did not get the back Tiger. Oh dear, that was just a waste of good airborne. Now it's just down to 3 riflemen, in fact. So again, you know, be able to judge, is there a chance I might lose my men in this sort of engagement? Do I want to lose them? In this case, he should have been able to say, hang on, no I don't. Turning to chains a bit. So in that sense, not really solid play. Again, I do think Arcsaber needs to sort of work on his risk management. Sort of, you know, will this actually pay off for me, or will it go out terribly? Rifleman moving up there, getting gunned down. Might get the curtain crap, but looks like they won't. Nor the armored car, which actually cuts down Larry and Robert. And the riflemen are getting quite beaten up. Chains, of course, still has a not vast force, but I consider it still more solid force, in particular considering that Arcsaber keeps on losing men, which is a real problem for him. As it is, Arcsaber does have a tendency of getting a bit too eager. I mean, sometimes it can work off, but other times, you know, it doesn't. And again, that's, you know, part of risk. And this stage, of course, the question Arcsaber ought to be asking himself is, do you actually want to lose such things like these? Like, for example, the airborne, I spent a bunch of munitions upgrading. Never mind, in particular, if we get some veterans before them, it will be more effective in the longer run. Anti-tank gun does not make it out of the rifle here, getting caught between quite a bit of German fire. Armor coming out, anti-tank gun moving in. Could get the... Oh! We're seeing... strafing run, or was it a recon run? I'm not entirely sure what happened right there. But the anti-tank gun does blow up the armored car, saving the rifleman on the retreat. Still, Arcsaber is in a considerable amount of trouble. Tank awareness goes up for Chains' Panzer Grenadiers. Expert repairs going up. BAR could be secured here,
granted us the ability to perform advanced repair,
but seems to be neglected for now anyways. Rifleman lining up, anti-tank gun moving up, and he's actually moving in to recruit the anti-tank gun right in front of the enemy. Baggy gun getting repaired. Although one thing to note, when you do get this sort of upgrade, you might want to reissue the repair order. In that case, they will actually begin repairing at expert repair rate. Otherwise, they'll continue at their rudimentary repair rate. So, a slight little thing to remember, not necessarily something all people know. They can make the difference as the pass lead if you want to repair things and you did get the upgrade. It's just getting blasted, pummeled by the anti-tank guns. Rifleman could try and charge in, get off some sticky bombs. And another mortar half-tank, that is good. Victory points, they're going down for Chains. Again, if only the American player could push him off solidly and mine down, he might be able to stop Chains rather solidly, but again, it's not quite happening yet. It looks like Arcsaber's not quite pushing as forwards as he could. There we go, Hetzer's a bit under fire, but all shots miss. And now we do see the mortar half-track moving up, ready to unleash light artillery doom. Having a bit of trouble dealing with that, Hetzer. And there we go, incendiary round. Hetzer almost knocked out. The incendiary round doesn't actually quite hit.
Morale is dropping as we hit 100 points.
And down to less than 100 points for Chains. Turning to Arcsaber. What shall his move be? I wonder. Trying to perhaps get the heads up. Baggerty though quickly moves in to place it itself, and we do see a full retreat. We also see strafing run ready. He could try and perhaps go for the bombing run. We see more airborne dropping in. Inside the base, he plays it very safe when dropping them in and resulting in an anti-tank and lost. And veterans, he free for the Panzer Grenadiers with the Gewehr 43. Though they get another anti-tank gun as well. And we do see a quick attempt at a teller mine. A nasty little trick. Basically involves that the infantry does not set off a teller mine, but an anti-tank gun is counted as a vehicle. So when the anti-tank gun is recruited, it will set off the teller mine. It's a nasty little thing. In this case, though, Chains was not able to finish the teller mine, in which case it does nothing. But again, it's a nasty little trick for some Panzer Elite players who do go for tank destroyer doctrine. And we do see one supply and upgrade. That is nice, wonderful, lovely. And more recallers rivals on the way. Points are still ticking down. Chains has not been able to secure here. Of course, the problem is a bit the mortar half-track, though, to sort of allow for a full push by Arcsaber. On the other hand, there's nothing really preventing Chains from going for that victory point.
Enemy unit.
Ooh, Kencard lost on them. We're seeing an Why on earth did he build an observation post there? I'm going to guess it was a mistake. Well, besides the obvious part, but a mistake from his part, he might not have thought about it. Because he's obviously not doing a lot with his vehicles. So, I mean, that's just pointless. Mildly put. Just a waste of manpower when he's clearly gone for airborne and using all the bits there which require no fuel. Particularly also considering he's getting fuel from the supply drops. I mean, it's just, again, pointless than this. And grenades going off. Rifleman barely making out that the make station has been lost. Points are actually ticking down. Chains again seems more occupied with fighting the Americana than actually going for the victory points. It looks, oh, another unit sneaking in from the north. War for the victory points.
The enemy is down to 50 points.
And there we go. Points are ticking down. Grenade going off against the Panzer Grenadiers, forcing them away from the victory point. Just long enough to perhaps give a smaller advantage here as well. Meanwhile, Chains is definitely dominating the battlefield itself. He's having a bit more trouble with the victory points and map control overall. He rather has to focus all of his forces, of course. Well-executed harassment could win this for Arcsaber. That also again depends, he doesn't just throw units needlessly away. Eyes on me. 33, 32, 31. No force has been dispatched yet, although Panzer Grenadiers might soon make the assault. Lots of Sturmgewehr. As 2 assault grenadier squads form up. Again, they are going to go up with some considerably veteran riflemen, and again a bit of suppressive fire, and good night, that assault will be stopped.
The enemy is down to 25 points.
Bergetiger trying to find something to recover. And there we go, Panzer is charging forward. Will there be suppressive fire or even a grenade? Panzer is continue ahead, and we are seeing an armored car actually moving in. Grenade goes off. Veterans are free for the riflemen. That pretty much sorts that one out. And now the Ken Crown is actually moving in right in front of the riflemen. Veterans are free. 17 victory points left for Chains. He's must be getting quite desperate. And a sticky bomb. I mean, clearly Arcsaber is also very desperate to ensure that Chains does not get it. And we're seeing another push up through the centre, but again, the heads are simply too many. And with all that veterancy, they're going to be a bit difficult to penetrate from the front. Panzer's run into the church, and the engineers trying to go for that victory point and getting absolutely gutted. Bombing run now ready as well. And trying to get the mortar half-track, which could help a bit. 8 victory points, 7 points. Kettenkrab moving in. Oh dear, 6 points.
Supply lines are broken. We have territory cut off from supply.
And here's the thing right now, if Arcsaber was to retreat from here, leave a small guard force right here, and then just push hard for this victory point. And just give, you know, no care about anything else, he might actually be able to win this match. There's only 6 victory points left, 1 solid push against here, and again currently all of Chains' forces are focused here, because currently most of the attacks by Arcsaber going in towards here. Again, an assault towards here would be quite unexpected for Chains, and would again result in his doom. I'm confident. But sadly, Arcsaber has not realized this. Instead, he's going to be pushing into the center once more, and that could prove to be a very, very bad move. Or at least not the most effective one. Again, he's going to be wasting units on that. And ultimately, here's the even more clever thing, because he would be forced to attack here. Well, attacking there, of course. Chains would be forced to send in a force, which could perhaps open up for going in there as well. It looks like he might be sending in a smaller force, but he needs a larger force for this point. Again, this ought to be his main priority. This secondary. Instead, he's doing it the other way around. He's going to be pushing at the strongest point Chains has, with the largest force, instead of just, you know, trying to move about it. In fact, oh, he's just sending in some engineers. Oh dear, Arcsaber, you really are not doing this right. Up and moving up. And bombing run. Going in. Oh no! Oh no! Oh goodness! Ow! Blimey! It crashed right through the cafe! Oh dear, and in this case it was because all the anti-aircraft positions were pointed towards the base. Meaning any wing called in from that direction would get shot down immediately. Oh no, that was 250 munitions down the drain. Although again, I don't think it would have been done much good either, considering we was trying to drop it. By the looks of it, oh dear, Arcsaber again.
We're losing contact with one of our sectors.
And his engineers are just getting slowed down there instead of trying to go for the victory points. Arcsaber, you have horrible priorities, my boy. Horrible. And you were so close to winning. Now you might have lost it all. Bit of a shame with that 250 munitions, although I suppose they could try and sort of make airstrikes a bit, you know, not necessarily unstoppable, but at least that way that even if he gets shot down, there might still be a little explosion and might get some munition returned, so it isn't a complete loss. I suppose that can be a bit unpleasant with 250 down the drain. Sticky bomb on the armoured car. Hetzer's getting blasted. Bit of damage going in the rifle ring, and again he goes for the strongest point. He goes for the strongest instead of going for the weakest, which would definitely net him the greatest reward. In this case would be victory. Strong tactician, Arcsaber, not really strong strategist. Mortar rounds are going in. And certainly he's doing some damage to Chains, but again, he should just go for the victory points and end this. And for every moment he keeps on doing this, he actually is making himself weaker, because again, he's not doing any damage to Chains, so as well, Chains will be stronger, and Chains will have a much better chance of actually holding this. And there we go again, Hetzer's knocked out. What instead happened? Lots of men were lost. Calling in a Panther and a Yak Panther at the same time, Chains. That's a bit weird. Clearly assaulted, only one of each getting called in. Fancy that. Either way, though, again, Arcsaber definitely not performing the best right here.
Americans are seizing territory from us.
And to say at this stage, it's pretty much game over. Since right here, Arcsaber definitely missed out on a great chance of otherwise beating Chains. And now, of course, it looks like he might finally be going for it, but at the same time he's going to be losing that victory point now again. He missed an absolutely brilliant opportunity earlier on to pretty much finish this game and beat Chains quite decently. Instead, he's going to be losing this match. All because, again, he lost sight of the victory points, and again, he lost sight of, well, the forced disposition of Chains. Which, again, rather ought to have showed him again. All the forces were right here. Minimal forces right here. Now and then, he can, of course, figure out something's going to move towards there. Now he's, in fact, moving over some Panther Grenadiers, but also the Panther and the Yak Panther. There's no way in hell that Chains can now lose. Whatever chance there might have been earlier is now lost, is now gone, is now wasted by Arcsaber. Could lose a Panther score, but again, note all the riflemen here are going to be easy targets, and again, he now will only still hold one victory point. And while this one is reasonably unguarded, of course, it's the other two where the main force are. He can't get to them. So again, pretty much pointless. But still, he's going to try. He's going to make an effort. Right within range of the mortar half-take, of course, and right there the Panzers, of course, pretty much put a stop to that. So again, wasted effort. Of course, depending on his resources, there might be one slight chance here. Let's just briefly investigate. He could try and call in an airborne squad right here and then connect right there. I mean, that would be a bit, you know, thinking outside the box, but it could win him the game. But I'm pretty sure we're not going to see it happen. Because clearly, Arcsaber's not that imaginative. Another attempt at a bombing run again, admirable, but again, rather than missing besides the point, which is he should not be focusing on knocking out the units at this stage. He should go for the victory points. He should just drain Chains of victory points. Instead, he's going to line up for another assault. And again, missing sight of the main point, of the main target, of the main priority. Oh dear, the Pentagon's getting absolutely slaughtered. Rather than moving in, hoping to get that mortar half-track which has killed so many of their brethren, but pretty sure they won't work out. There we go, victory points lost again. And anti-tank gun lost. Mine hit, going in for the victory point there again, but again now he's lost the other one. Troops getting burned alive, mortar lost, cooked. And the Hertz are getting a nice smell of roast Yankee. So do some of the Yanks.
The enemy has moved against one of Germany's victory points.
And there we go, game over. Nice spirited game, some really interesting things. Aircraft crashing through a tavern or whatever, but ultimately there were some mistakes. There were some quite considerable mistakes from Arcsaber's side. Partly he risked units at times, like here or later on here. That should not have happened, which rather resulted in him just wasting units, wasting manpower, in some rather futile attempts in both cases. Secondly, I think he should have gone for a doctrine earlier, and this just also struck me as weird, particularly when all the other things he went for. Medic stations were a nice touch, definitely kept him in the game much longer than otherwise, but ultimately his main mistake was really just not realizing about the victory points. Again, he focused too much here rather than, again, just when there were 6 points left, going for this one. Had he done for that instead, perhaps even just leaving something here to sort of occupy chains there, he could have won this. Instead, he did the exact opposite. He focused right here and then sent some engineers and a light excursion to, perhaps also take the victory point there, which could lead to my victory if there's any time for it. Not really the way to do it. I mean, again, I'm not saying to solely focus on victory points, but again, do pay attention to them, as they can offer opportunities of victory as well, They're not just there for show. So in that sense, really some grim case of poor priorities, I think, by Arcsaber. Change in the anti-tank had some all good start. I mean, the armor cars clearly caught him by surprise. Did a lot of damage for his anti-tank half-tracks. Tailor mines were a nice choice, although could easily lay down a lot more, I think. Could also secured some of the weapons that I think, Arcsaber dropped down. Hetzers, though, were a nice move. Tank destroyer in general was a nice move. But again, you think he could have used a bit more tailor mines to sort of make things more difficult for his opponent. Overall, though, hope you enjoyed the match. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? This is Imperial Danes saying cheers.